Welcome to the series of Microsoft Access for historians. In this first video, I'm going to try to convince you to use Microsoft Access when you do some data entry, and I'll show you how it is better than to use Excel and what is the potential. So if you are here, you've used already Excel to do some data entry on something else, and then you probably feel that there's something could be done better. So this is the example of the Copenhagen census of 1880. This is a codebook where you have all the information and all the different variables that you have, and this is the data. So you have the different variables in columns and then all the individuals across the rows, and you have an ID for them. So if your data looks like this and there's nothing else that you're gonna do with them, Excel could be fine. Yeah, you don't need anything else. If you do pivot tables, you can analyze it, and then that is fine. But imagine that you have information from the 1880 census, the 1870, or the 1900, or you have information of births and deaths or something else. So it is likely that these people, this Andreas Jacob Bank, that these people will appear in some of your other files. If you put them in different Excel spreadsheets, there's no way in hell that you can actually get the information together. You couldn't see if a person had one occupation in the first census and then moved to a higher occupation or to a lower occupation. If a person would change marital status, you would need to analyze in each of your Excel sheets each of the different censuses. And that's fine, and it can give you a lot. But what if you can actually model what happened with these people across different sources and across different times? And that's where Access start coming in handy. So just let's close Copenhagen census 1880, and no, let's not save it. So the answer to your question is Access. So you can find Access in your computer. In mine here appears Access. Probably if you've never used it, you don't have a shortcut. I would recommend you make a shortcut, but that's okay. So it's one of these programs that come with the Office package. Here I have it. If you do not find it and you're a Mac user, that's normal. Mac doesn't have Access. I believe there's something called ActiveX controls that are necessary for running Access, and they do not appear in any of the Apple products. So if you're a Mac user, you can just switch off the video, but I would suggest that you continue. There's two ways of going about this, I would say. One is that if you want to keep to your Mac, you can install something called Parallels, which I understand that it lets you have your regular Mac and then have a Windows installation on it. So it's like a partition, if I understand correctly. So this Parallels allows you to do this partition, and then you can install Windows, and then you can install Office, and then your Mac computer can work with both all the Mac fancy things and Access. But you may think that that's a lot of trouble, and then you have to make the partition and do the thing and blah blah. So probably a way easier form is just to buy a really cheap laptop, that a PC regular that comes with this license. And right now, all the new Office 365 comes with all the programs, and it's quite affordable. Or you can use the library or something else. So Access is everywhere, and if you're a non-Mac user, then you'll find it very easily. So this is how Access looks like in this new version. If you have an old version, it could look a little bit different, but that's the same. So one thing that we could do is just to open a blank database. You see, you have here the classic reasons and all these different things that we don't care about. And in general, we could just create a blank database and then database 1, and then we would create it. And this is where we are. However, this is kind of empty, and it's not going to be very helpful for us to look at something. It's just like looking at a piece of paper. So let me show you some examples of things that we can do. So let me go to my folder, and this is something that a researcher loaned to me, and it's super complex. So just have a look and see, and then be scared, because I would be scared. So we have something called here tables, and see there's a ton of different tables. And then we go down and down and more tables. There's something called queries, and there's with different colors, different names, and everything looks really, really puzzling, and we don't really know what it is. And if we go down, those are still queries, and then at the end something else, the little icon, something called forms. So this is one of the most complex examples that you want to do. The macros is a combination of queries, but you don't need to know now. So, but this is the database that Asbjørn Thompson compiled for 3 Jylland parishes. So he got information, and then you see the names, then you'll start realizing what it is. Different years, family situation, census of 87, 01, 34, 45. So he has all the different tables of these people, and then something about taxes, followers. So there's many different tables, and he has managed to link all those tables between themselves, so you can reconstruct the life of people. And this is what you can see here on the right hand side. You don't need to go to the extent that this database shows you, but I just wanted to show you in the first instance, so you have a taste of like how big this can become. So you can integrate many different types of sources and learn how to do these things. And it is super cool. But so you have 3 different components. You have something called a table, which it is really a table like the one we could have in Copenhagen. This is 1787, but we could have 1880. And you have something called form, which allows you, so this is what we are here, so you can just click on things and enter the information. And then you have something called queries that allow you to investigate the tables and the forms. It is a way of saying, I want to see how many women there were with that age, that sex, and that had that occupation, for instance. And then the query retrieves the information for you in a stable manner. But just let's close this one. It is way too complex and this is way too simple. So let me show you a bit of what I'm doing right now. That's the midwife database. So we have been working with midwife information, and here you see something a little bit smaller. So we have our tables, and this is the table that I'm going to show you. It has information on midwives, and it's kind of normal. And see that we have here 473 midwives. So this is information on the available sources for these women in the research. Have another source that was collected from a book with information about midwives that were practicing in the city and that were members of the Vereniging in 1935. And then that's information that we have collected on them. See that it is 149. So we could type the information right away in these tables. So let me show you again. So if I write here something different, then it's there. I'm just gonna go back to the 0. But we just can write that, and then if you go here to the last part, I could create a new one, a new record. But a really fun way of doing that, and very easier, is just to use a form. And then that's the same information, and you can see exactly all the information in just one page. And if I go to the last one, I could create a new record. So that's tables, that query, that form. The form just allows you, it's a nicer interface to put data into your table. So it's just the task of transcribing becomes easier. And finally, queries. Queries are these things here, and if you think about it, it looks like a table. But in fact, this query, just don't get scared, but I'm just going to show you what it is. Inside, it is taking the information from the table that I collected from the archive and from the book. And what I'm doing here is saying how many of the women that appear in both sources. So if you think about it, I can establish a link between 2 tables that were separate, and I can do that with queries, among many other things. And this is incredibly powerful. Just with using these 3 items, you can just do almost anything that you need to do. So welcome to Access. I hope that I have slightly convinced you to work with this, and well, see you in the next video.